A while back, our creative director, the brilliant and handsome Jesse Wood, was filming a rally that ran down the east coast of the US. Jesse said that when it came time to drive south from New York to Miami, everyone opted to drive around Virginia. He said very cryptically, "No one drives through Virginia." And everyone in the office was like, "What? Why?" But when we turned around, he was gone, and a single white rose was left in his place. As clueless West Coasters, we wanted to know why Virginia isn't a great state to drive in. And let me tell you, what we found out was way more interesting than what we expected. I'm super stoked to announce that we have collabed with Lean Customs to make our own enamel pins. You've probably seen these pins all over Instagram or my backpack. This thing's super high quality. It's on our store right now, so check it out. For just $10, you can rep a jacket, a hat, backpack, whatever. Just like stick this thing on whatever you got, stick them into my skin. What? Now available on our store. Hit the link, get one for yourself. They're great. Guys, thank you for clicking on our video. If you like it, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so we can keep bringing you new videos every week. In this video, we're gonna talk about what makes certain states worse to drive in than others and how the government exploits driving laws to increase state revenue. But before we get to that, we're gonna get into the state that's the most unfair, most despicable, the most infuriating state to drive in, Virginia. Driving in the state of Virginia can be frustrating. You'll encounter annoyances that you would find in a lot of other states. But then we found a driving statistic that blew us away. Ready? 1 out of every 6 drivers in Virginia has a suspended license. With more than 6 million registered drivers in the state, that means nearly 1 million people are driving illegally. That is an insane statistic. Think about it. If the same percentage applied to California, 4.3 million drivers would be driving around with suspended licenses. Frankly, that would explain a lot. People kind of suck here at driving. Totally forgot, dude. I got pizza.
I love pineapple and ham.
But that's a story for another video. Yeah, people probably shouldn't drive with suspended licenses, but the reason they were suspended was what really shocked us. Virginia has a law that says if you're going 20 over the speed limit and get pinched, you don't get a speeding ticket, you get a reckless driving ticket. Reckless driving is a misdemeanor, which means it's on par with a DUI, which means that you have to either spend a lot of time and money in court fighting to get it reduced to a simple speeding ticket, or pay anywhere from $350 to $2,500 for the reckless driving ticket. When compared to the average $250 penalty on a normal speeding ticket, that's quite a jump. And you might say, that's easy, Nolan, just don't speed. And that's a good point. But it's not that simple. Plus, let's be honest here, everyone likes to speed, even if you don't want to admit it. Speed limits in Virginia are notoriously low. Streets that a driver could safely drive at 35 miles per hour are limited to 25. Many highways are limited to an anemic, infuriating 55 miles an hour, which compared to the rest of the US is very slow. This makes it easy to speed without even realizing it and creates opportunities for speed traps. Virginia loves their speed traps. If you're not familiar with the term, a speed trap is basically when a cop posts up on a stretch of road or highway that has a sudden drop in speed limit. It's very easy to fall into these traps if you're an out-of-state driver that maybe didn't catch a road sign. And let me be clear, the main objective of a speed trap is to make money. They call it policing for profit, and it sucks. No bones about it.
It's a trap!
One of the most egregious speed traps in the US is a stretch of the I-295 that runs through Hopewell, Virginia, that earned the nickname the $1 Million Mile. It got that nickname because it makes the precinct almost $2 million a year on speeding tickets. What are you guys spending that on? There are 11 sheriff's deputies that work 14-hour shifts handing out tickets on the 2-mile stretch of highway. It's only 2 miles long, then it is literally $1 million a mile. And all that money goes straight back into the town of Hopewell so they can hire more deputies, buy more radar guns, and buy faster cruisers. It's easy to try and justify the laws by saying that it cuts down on accidents and increases safety. But at what point does it go from being a safety issue to an ethical issue? Policing for profit is a pretty slimy thing to do to tax-paying citizens, and when you look at the demographic it affects the most, it's even more infuriating. By and large, the people most affected are low-income drivers. You know, the people who definitely need a license to get to work. What will happen is a driver misses a sign and gets pulled over for doing 20 over. They're given a reckless driving ticket. When they are inevitably unable to pay for the cost of hiring a lawyer and taking time out of their work week to go to court, their licenses are suspended. They're in a pickle, okay? They don't have enough money to pay the court fees, but they need their car to get to work so that they can make money to pay the court fees. So they end up driving despite their suspended license. And that's how you get nearly 1 million people driving with a suspended license in Virginia alone. What's even dumber is that it costs the state a ton more money to enforce in court and through the DMV. It's not really beneficial to anyone but the precinct making that speed trap money. Sorry, that's a little misleading. It does benefit politicians as well, but in a different way. One of the reasons these speed traps continue to exist is because it lets politicians campaign on the fact that they not only cracked down on these malicious speeders and made the roads safer, they can say that they raised significant revenue for the state. It's a win-win for politicians, and it's been going on for a long time. Years ago, then Governor of Virginia, Tim Kaine, pushed legislation through that tacked an additional abuser fee of $1,000 onto tickets for things like speeding and failing to signal. That's right. It was met with so much hostility from motorists who were paying over $1,000 for not putting on their turn signals that the courts deemed it unconstitutional and it was repealed. You might say, thankfully, I don't live in Virginia, Nolan, you Star-Lord action figure that someone put in the microwave. Well, I've got some bad news for you, okay? There are speed traps all over the country. No one is safe. According to a study done by the National Motorists Association, anywhere between $5 to $7 billion are made every year from known speed traps around the country, which they define as arbitrarily low speed limits with heavy traffic enforcement designed to generate ticket revenue. The worst offending states up there with Virginia: Texas, my home state of California, Ohio, and Florida. It's no wonder why Florida is full of speed traps. The popular vacation destination sees a constant flow of out-of-state drivers just ripe for the pick. The Sunshine State is home to 2 of the worst speed traps in America, or at least it was. The Highway Patrol in Waldo, a town with a population of 1,000 people, wrote 12,000 speeding tickets in 2013, resulting in $400,000 in fines for drivers. But you can rest easy, Waldo's 7-person force was disbanded in 2014. Yikes. The other recognized speed trap is in a town called Lati, where there is a sudden drop in speed for a school zone, but there's no vertical signage to let drivers know that. That's very shady. Sometimes we don't even have the luxury of a human pulling us over to issue a ticket. The city of Baltimore's speed ticket camera program was under fire earlier this year for issuing tickets to cars that were stopped at red lights, and even a car that was parked. Lucky for us, there are organizations trying to shut down speed traps not only in Virginia, but all over the country. One of them is AAA, the roadside assistance / insurance / everything you would ever want from a company, has said that they've had some good success in stopping speed traps. Recently, they sent 200,000 emails to members with links to email Virginia lawmakers to, quote, let them know policing for profit shouldn't be happening and to shut it down. The bill they're pushing would limit the amount of money a jurisdiction can keep from speed traps like the one in Hopewell, Virginia. So that's hopeful. That's good. I like that. So, is Virginia the worst state to drive in? The speed traps suck, but it's probably not the end of the world. I'm not going to form an opinion based off one comment Jesse made, even if he is very handsome, and yes ladies, he's single. Yeah, it sucks to get pulled over in Virginia, but you can't argue with the statistics. And the stats say that Virginia is actually one of the safest states to drive in. A study was done using 5 factors: fatalities from drunk driving, failure to obey traffic laws, speeding, careless driving, and fatalities per 100 million miles traveled. Virginia scored 4th best out of all 50 states. So as much as we don't like these laws, maybe they're working? I mean, you can't argue with the results. The state that scored the lowest on this list, you might ask? That would be Montana, which has the reputation for being a great state to drive in because they don't really have speed limits. So I'm not really sure what to think. If you live in Virginia, I would really like to hear from you guys in the comments. I would like to hear some of your stories. Maybe you got some tickets. Maybe you're driving on a suspended license. Don't rat on yourself. Hey, we have a podcast too. It's called Past Gas. Check that out. And now we have a notification. Finished setting up iPad. Why would I want to do that during WheelHouse? What? Now? No. Eggs. I had eggs for breakfast. Scrambled. A little bit of crushed pepper on top. This thing called breakfast. Thanks for watching. Be kind. See you next time.